everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Spin. My name is Skylar, and over here in a shirt that says Good Girl is Brittany.
Hello! We are a variety podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Okay, so for our first time doing this in a hot minute, that didn't go as bad as I thought it would go.
It's been a real hot minute. Hey, I'm a problem, I'm sorry.
No, it's, okay, so for the first half of it, I was just like sick all of the time. I had strep at one point, and then I had a really bad sinus infection, and then I had an allergic reaction to prednisone, and so I was just like dying. And then she and Richard went to Bonnaroo without me, and then Richard tore his shoulder, so that's what's been going on.
Yeah, it's just been, we were on summer vacation, except it wasn't always a vacation.
It wasn't planned to be a vacation. Also started in the spring.
But, hey, we're back. We didn't forget. Yay.
Yay.
I forgot. I meant to do something for the episode. I didn't get any background information.
I've got a little bit.
Okay, I was just gonna go to IMDb.
I've got a little bit.
I totally meant to, and I got distracted. Well, anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I woke up really late this morning because I also didn't go to bed until after 5 in the morning last night.
It's a late night.
Yes. Like I told y'all downstairs, I re-pierced my ears in the bar bathroom. And then I got off work at 1, and I was like, well, I'm going to hang out. And then I hung out with my friend and her friends. And then they were like, well, we're going to Moneymakers. And so I was like, ooh, can I come? And they were like, yeah, you don't even have to ask. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't want to just show up. They were like, no, it's fine, you can come. I was like, okay. So then I ended up taking one of them home because they were very, very drunk. Mm. It was a fight to get the address out.
Oh,
yeah, it was a fight to get the address out of her. We couldn't find her phone. And then there were these 2 guys that were like, oh, I know where she lives. And I was like, yeah, tell me how to get there. And they were like, well, I know how to get there. And I was like, yeah, how do you get there? And they were like, and I was like, yeah, I'm taking her home. And so I was like, what's the address? And so I finally got the address out of her. So I get almost to her house, which is way out past the south side. And then they find her phone, and apparently one guy had stolen it, and when he couldn't get into her phone, he threw it in the bushes of a tattoo parlor.
Jesus Christ.
And then so they were going to Waffle House, and they were like, well, I'll come back and I'll get her phone. So I go take her to a Waffle House, get her phone. She throws up in the Waffle House parking lot. And then so we're leaving, and I'm like, all right, the windows are rolled down. Whatever you do not throw up in my car. Throw up out the window. Do not throw up inside my car. And she's like, I got you, girl. I'm like, okay. And then about halfway back to her house, she throws up all over herself inside of the car.
No.
And then I finally get her to the house, and she was like, can I go to his house? And I was like, no. I was like, get inside, please.
It's always I got you, girl. When they're drunk, that drunk, they do not, in fact, have you, girl.
No. So I get her to the house, and then I knock on the door to try and make sure this is the right house, because I'm just wanting to double check, because we still couldn't get in her phone, because she didn't know her own phone password.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, okay. And then the guy was like, I could hear him talking behind the door, and he's like, this better be good. So we get her in the house, and then they bring me a towel and spray so I can clean out my car, and I'm like, ugh. And then I stopped at the gas station because I deserved beef jerky, and I was like, I want beef jerky and a sandwich and a bottle of water, and to be in my bed. And I went home and got in my bed.
That's a lot.
But yes, so that was my night last night. But yeah, like I said, probably should cut that part out just to not put anybody on blast, but I was like, I needed to tell you that story.
It's fair. It is a good story. I could just take out the names.
That is true.
Because a lot happened. That sucks, but you'll make a good story, at least for days to come when you no longer have to think about puke in your car.
Yeah, well, because I'm a sympathetic vomiter. So just when she had thrown up in the Waffle House parking lot.
They're about the same.
Yeah. If there's 2 places people are going to throw up, it's Walmart and Waffle House
parking lot. Start with a W for a reason.
But then as I'm going back home, I call and I'm like, you know, she's home. And she was like, yeah, and I was talking to CJ, who's one of the bartenders, and she was like, I'm just so glad she threw up in the parking lot, not in your car. And I was like, wait till you hear this. I was like, she actually did. But then he kept trying to pay me, and I was like, please do not give me money. Like, it's fine. Like, with the way, like, I would have done this, like, for anyone. Like, you're fine. Please do not give me money. And then she threw the money at me and took off. And I was like, well, I can't exactly get out of the car and chase you down because I've got your friend sitting in the passenger seat. And then my dad had texted me. He was like, are you okay? And I was like, hold on. So I called him because I was driving on the interstate. And I was like, sorry, I'm in the car. I didn't want to, like, drive and text and drive. So I just gave you a call and told him everything that happened. And he just started laughing. And he was like, yeah, because I just got up to use the bathroom and noticed you weren't home. And you had left before I did. And I was like, well, that's why.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing else has really been going on. Been writing some.
Oh, that's good. Just like any like a big thing or like little things.
Mostly I've been working little times, like in little intervals on big projects. Because like I told you, those two, the one like the Faye story that I had and the other story that I had.
Yeah.
And like those, I'm setting a goal for myself that by the end of 2024, I want to have published a book.
Okay.
And because I know you can self-publish, because I don't think I would be able to get like an official editor and publisher.
And I help people do that, so I can always help you with that.
Yes. But I'm trying to figure out which one I want to, because if I'm going to actually get one done,
you need to like focus on
I need to pick one, and it's so hard for me to pick which one I want to do. But I think it's going to be the other one instead of the Faye one, just because I think there's a lot with the Faye one I want to change and kind of like scrap it and start over.
Yeah.
Like still have the same premise, but kind of start it over. So I think I should probably focus on the other one. But then I'm like, but what if I scrap the idea and then get the new one going and I really enjoy that one, and like, so I'm like, which one do I do? I don't know.
Gotta always follow your gut. Say which one you have more fun with, honestly, because that's probably going to be the baby anyway.
Yes, that is true.
So I would look at it from that and just see like which one you're more excited about, and then also what's more fun.
Yes. Okay.
So you're not forcing yourself to like pick, and then you're like, oh, this is work now. It should still be fun and
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because like the thing that I like the most about the other one, because I don't really know how to explain that one. It's
like they just keep calling it the other one. It makes it mysterious.
Because I don't really know how to like describe it.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like when I talk about the Raven Cycle and people are like, oh, what's it about? And I'm like, that's a great question. So it's like I don't really know how to explain this other one, but like I've got these like character templates, and I've been making like character templates, and I'm like, this is the most fun I've had in my entire life.
See, that's great.
I'm like, I love making a good character template. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and I've also picked Korean back up because I kind of let that go for a while I was doing like Mandarin and German and Swedish and all the other ones. So I kind of picked Korean back up, so that's been fun. I decided to try and learn Thai because I've been watching a lot of Thai dramas. That's been like the thing I've been doing the most recently. Because you were like, have you watched the movie yet? And I was like, no, I'm watching gay Thai dramas. Like that's all I've done with my time.
And I love that for you.
And then like I started trying to learn Thai, and I was like, I'm going to shoot myself. This is so hard.
It seems like it would be.
It's the hardest one I've ever tried to learn. Like
really?
like Mandarin, even Mandarin, I thought Mandarin would be the hardest one because that's what everyone says. Like Mandarin is one of the hardest languages to learn, just because. And I was like, Mandarin is a breeze compared to Thai. Like it is so. Thai is so hard, and like I tried doing it on drops just to start with like vocabulary, and then all of a sudden it was like when I did the foundation, it was like, okay, this is how you say hello, and I'm like, okay, keeping up. Like this is how you say I love you. I'm like, okay, keeping up. This is how you say thank you. I'm like, okay, I'm keeping up. And then they just put the Thai alphabet on there without the like English phonetics underneath it, and I was like. What? I was like, am I supposed to know this? So then I tried doing the, like, okay, I was like, well, I'll go, instead of continuing in this lesson, that's vocabulary, I'll go to the alphabet, and I'll start with consonants. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it was like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, I swear to God, that's what it was. Like, I swear to God, that's what it was. And then it was like, 3 of the letters are like, the only difference is like, there's a dip at the top. And I'm like, Like, okay, this is a lot. And, like, I still don't know what sound the consonant makes, because it's like, here's this consonant, and then it's like, it'll be like, this is the sound it makes, and it's like, kwakun, and I'm like, which sound does it, like, if that is in a word, how am I supposed to say that? It, like, is that, what?
Yeah, it's over my head.
And I was like, really trying, and I was like, I just cannot make sense of this, and I'm like, I feel like I need an even more basic, like, before we even get to the alphabet, I need the alphabet to be explained before we can even get to trying to learn the alphabet. Yeah. And I'm like, it's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, and so I'm like, I don't know about this.
Same.
So what have you been up to? How have you been?
I mean, I'm fine. I'm boring as always, so I really haven't done anything at all.
What did you do in Nashville?
We went to a concert. So we went to dinner, which we tried a new place that was really cool. It's called 60 Vines, and it is a place that has 60 wines on tap. So they're like on tap, and like it's like a bar, but it's for specifically wine. And it was really cool. It was a really cool vibe. It's like the third story of this new place downtown. And basically the middle story is just a food court with all of these different like weird restaurants, and you can just like walk around and drink. And the bottom floor is like shopping, but it's like really nice shopping. So there's like a lip lab, there's a Free People, it's like all this other stuff, but it's like open air. It was really weird. It's like newer, because I never had heard of it. So we went to my friend Missy, who has my old roommate who still lives there. She told me about 60 Vines, and it worked out because it was right across from the Ryman, which was where our show was. So went to the concert there. It was really more of a Richard concert. It was someone he wanted to see. I only knew one song by them, but it was a vibe. I forget how rowdy Nashville is. Like, people were there, and I do not miss living there, because just trying to leave, traffic-wise, we were coming out of the parking garage, and it was backed up, people trying to get to Broadway, but we wanted to go left, away from Broadway, away from the craziness. But we were on 3rd Street, so we were right there by Broadway, like right in the muck of downtown. And so there was stop traffic going this way, and we wanted to go this way. And there were like no cars coming, but we couldn't get through the people because they were too backed up. And then all of a sudden this taxi cab just decides he's going to go down the opposite lane, so he's going, and then a car is coming back this way. So then it stands still, and they're just like, fuck it, I'm going. Because the cab, like, that's a shitty move, but he gave us a way to get out, so we left. And then we were going, and then we saw 2 other cabs crash into each other in the middle of the intersection. So we couldn't go the way we wanted to go, so we had to turn right, and it was a mess. It was fucking chaotic. I was like, my God, I do not miss living here, but Nashville, you rowdy, and you know how to have a good time, because all of this was going on. People were just dancing and singing. I was like, oh my God, I forgot what it's like to be here. It's like I was in an alternate dimension.
Who'd y'all go see?
The Dead South.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, I only knew one song of them, but they put on a hell of a show. It was really fun.
Nice.
We had really good seats, but of course at the Ryman, every seat's a good seat. It's hard to have a bad seat there. And then a couple of weeks ago, we saw Fall Out Boy, which was amazing, and I completely lost my voice for like 3 days. It was really rough. That's one of the times we couldn't record. It's because I did not have a voice. I couldn't talk. And then the week before that, we were at Bonnaroo. So really, we've just been doing music stuff and nothing else. I've been reading a lot. I've fallen into a fan fiction spiral.
Hell yeah.
And but now it was a pipeline from getting hooked on a specific ship and reading all these really great books. And I downloaded them to my Kindle, and I'm putting them on my reading challenge. They are books. I am counting them. But now I'm like, I have in that mindset where like, I want to learn how to bind books so that I can bind the fan fiction and put it on my shelf. So now I'm like looking at like $300 worth of bookbinding materials, and I'm probably going to pull the plug next month because I'm like, I can do this, because I have that mindset, like, I can do this. So I'm going to teach myself how to bind fan fiction.
There you go.
So that's been fun for me. I'm on bookbinding TikTok, and every video I'm like, I could do this. I could do this. So we'll see if I can, in fact, do this.
I'll send you links to my favorites so you can
buy them for you.
Yeah.
Maybe, if I get good enough. Make you presents. Yeah. Same old, same old. Same old bullshit, same us. Just a few months later.
Yeah, nothing's really changed. We're still the same people we've always been.
Yeah. I will say, it has been, like, kind of nice not have to worry about editing or, like, scheduling, so I won't lie. That was nice. But here we are again.
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, and so, what are we back with?
We're back with a movie. We're doing a movie.
And what are we drinking?
A drink we do not like.
Yay.
So that's super duper fun. Super love that.
What is your drink you just like?
So mine is this Blake cider, because I like Blake's hard cider, but I don't like spicy stuff. So I'm drinking the El Chavo mango and habanero one, and I am not excited.
Which I think that is delicious.
Because she likes spicy stuff. I don't.
You might, have you ever tried it? Did you ever try it when I had it? Okay. You might like it. I don't know. Maybe you'll be surprised. It's just like, no.
Yeah, like, you can't see the face I just made on the audio, but I made a face. So what are you drinking?
I am, unfortunately, drinking a cotton candy flavored wine, which is basically my nightmare.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, neither of us, but especially Brittany, are not fans of super sweet wine.
And just the smell alone makes me want to gag.
And I've had that cotton candy wine before, and oh my god, there was like, because it was at that, do you remember the expo? Because you were still there when we did the expo.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it. I was there a couple of years they did it.
Okay, well, I was there because I did the expo the first year I was there, and then we never did it again, so I was like...
Did we not?
No, because we did it in 2019.
And we did it again. Maybe not in 2020 because of...
No, we did it in 2020 because in 2019 I started in July.
Okay, maybe you just weren't there for that one.
So I wasn't there because the expo was in January. So I wasn't there in January of 2019. I was there in January of 2020 because I wanted to try the wine stand that they had at the expo, but I was like 4 days short of being 21. So Morgan had to go and like get me, and that's what she got me to try. And I was like, literally just that one little, I mean, the cup was like that. It was a sample cup. Like, yeah. It just coated my tongue. I was like,
oh yeah, no, it's bad. I've had it also before because my mom likes this. Or no, Sydney likes this.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, that tracks. So she's brought it to my house before, and I've tried it, and I gagged. So yay!
Because Sydney's like a very, very picky drinker.
She doesn't drink much, but she likes sweet stuff.
Yes.
This winery was actually where her birthday party was.
Oh, fun!
So it was fun. Well,
cheers.
That was bad. I don't know why we always try this.
Because it's
a plastic cup.
And this is an aluminum can, but it's out of principle, okay?
Fair enough. Guarantee you mine is worse.
Worst? Worse. Oh, this is gonna be so fun.
So cute, so fun. We're welcome.
I guess we should just get into it.
With enthusiasm like that, didn't you miss us?
We're so glad to be here.
Well, okay. So what did we watch?
So we watched Palm Springs, which is a sci-fi rom-com directed by Max Barbakow from a screen, and the screenplay was written by Andy Siara. It stars Andy Samberg, who co-produced the film, and Cristin Milioti. Also, the guy that played Derek in Teen Wolf is in there.
Who was he? I never watched Teen Wolf.
Abe.
I thought he looked familiar. He is also, is that why he just looked familiar to me?
Is that, oh god, who's the guy that plays Derek?
He was in Teen Wolf, yeah. I'm looking at his IMDb.
Well, what's his name?
Oh, sorry. I didn't even ask what you said. That didn't make sense. Tyler Hoechlin?
Okay, yeah, him. He played Derek in Teen Wolf.
But what do I know him from? Sorry. This doesn't matter to
That's
anyone
okay.
else, but...
I'm going to let you keep looking, and I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
Palm Springs had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 26, 2020, which is the day before my birthday, and also what we just talked about, one day before my 21st birthday. It was simultaneously released on Hulu and in certain theaters on July 10th, 2020. At the 78th Golden Globe Awards, it was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, and Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy for Andy Samberg. It also won Best Comedy at the 26th Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh.
And that's the background I have on that.
Fun. Okay, so he was Superman. He's Clark Kent. So I think I've just seen his face. I never watched that either. But he's also the voice of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a really good game.
Oh, okay.
This movie does also have, though, notable J.K. Simmons, who is a great actor, and his character was quite fun in this movie.
Who's that?
He played Roy.
Oh!
J.K. Simmons, he's in a lot of shit.
I thought he looked familiar, but I didn't look up who he was.
No, I knew him as soon as I saw him. I was like, I did not know he was in this.
And then
Peter Gallagher played the girl's dad, who is also a good actor, and he's in a lot of stuff. Most notably, he is Schmidt's dad on New Girl.
Yes! Yeah!
Yeah, so it was fun.
And then Camilla... What's her name? She's Veronica in...
Riverdale.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so funny. She has, like, one line. Like, she speaks once in the whole movie, but she's pictured so often. I just thought that was funny.
I loved her flower crown, though. That was cute.
Yeah. I also, when I saw watching the credits, this is a Lonely Island production. So also, like, not only did Andy Samberg, like, was a producer, but I guess Lonely Island make movies? Like, they produce things?
That means nothing.
Do you know who the Lonely Islands are? It's Andy Samberg's, like, musical comedy group.
Oh.
They sing Dick in a Box and I'm on a Boat. Motherfucker.
I thought Dick in a Box was Justin Timberlake on SNL.
I think Justin Timberlake was a guest on The Lonely Island. So. Am I making this up? You're too young for the Lonely Island?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Because I've only known... And yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm on a boat and I just had sex, threw it on the ground, jizz in my pants. That's The Lonely Island.
Okay.
Anyways, I guess now they're also, like, producing movies or something. I was like, that's kind of random.
I knew most of the songs.
Yeah, well, that's Andy Samberg.
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's, like, kind of, like, through SNL. Like, that's kind of, like, what most people know him for.
I've never sat down to watch an episode of SNL because I hate SNL.
Oh, I don't like it, but I liked old SNL.
My mom would try and show it. She's like, watch this SNL clip. It's so funny. And I'm like...
No, new SNL is.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
And then she was like, the one that she always brings up is the, like, it was like one of the Christmas ones, and like it was like the brand of the guy, like his last name was like Suede, so they were making this whole joke about, like, and she thought it was so funny, and I'm like, yeah, this is hilarious.
No, I only know old skits, and that doesn't sound familiar to me, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't, never a big SNL fan. I don't know, it was just never my kind of humor.
Yeah, it's very specific. It's dumb comedy. It's the whole thing. It's kind of like Mad TV. I was never really into that either.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. It's old. You're so young. Anyway, let's just talk about this.
My job is to sit here and be young and pretty and not know anything.
Okay, so let's just talk about this movie because I did not know anything about this movie when we went into it. But it was surprising. It surprised me a few times. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, definitely, like, I was all excited. I was like, okay, into the movie. And then I was like, literally don't have anything to add. Then what the fuck was that earthquake? And what happened to the goat?
Yeah, like, it's like, it starts off with like an earth-splitting earthquake dream, and there's a goat. It focuses on a goat in the middle of the desert.
In this earthquake with the, like, opening and like the glowing opening, and I was like, forget Misty and Niles thing that they've got going on because I don't give a fuck. Is the goat okay?
Yeah, so you get that, and then it just goes right into like the world's most awkward sex scene.
Yeah, it was so. The whole time I was watching it, like my shoulders were raised. I was like, what is happening?
And then like she doesn't let him finish. This is Andy Samberg's character and his girlfriend, and then she's like, watch me, as she's getting ready to like, help him finish, and it was just like, what the heck
It was
happening?
The weirdest thing ever. I was like, okay.
Spoiler, he did not finish.
No.
He did not get to finish. He was not into it.
Not at all.
And so then you get, like, it starts over, immediately you're like, this is kind of odd. Like, there's a weird vibe, but you don't know why. Like, you can't really place it.
Yeah.
But but you're like, something is off. And it starts with, like, what the fuck is he wearing to this wedding?
Yeah, it was just like everyone else is so dressed up and like
wearing
it's a wedding. Yeah, and he's wearing one of like a dad shirt and like board
Hawaiian shirt and bright ass yellow swim trunks.
Yeah, he's just got like a dad shirt, board shorts, and he's calling it a day.
And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, and he's got this whole like nihilistic attitude the whole time, and you're like, damn, dude, like, lighten up. You're chilling on a pizza float in a pool, like.
Yeah. So, like, automatically, he's got, like, he does not want to be there vibes. You think, like, I think you hate your girlfriend. Like,
yeah.
You don't know what is happening, but it's weird.
And no one knows who he is. They're like, he's just there. He's there as, like, Misty's boyfriend.
Because he is, his girlfriend, Misty, is a bridesmaid at this wedding. So he, of course, comes as her +1, as her date. But, like, he just does not fit at all. So, like, the wedding stuff starts happening or whatever, and then we meet we get a glimpse of our female main character.
Yes, and I have a note about this, about the wine.
It's not good wine. I don't care. Felt.
Yeah, and it's like, literally, okay, the woman getting wine and the bartender saying it's not good wine, and the woman going, I don't care, while the vows are going on, ... I felt that.
No, I have the same thing. Because, like, she gave her, like, what you're supposed to give a normal wine serving, and she's like, come on, like, fill it up. And then the bartender's like, it's not good. And she literally is just like, I don't care. And so she fills it up to the top for her. I was like, I feel that so hard. So, like, he saves her from a speech that she didn't know she had to give. And you're like, that was random, and why did he get away with that?
Yeah, and also, because the whole time, when he got up there, I immediately, like, tensed. I was like, I already feel the secondhand embarrassment coming. And I was like, wait, he actually didn't do such a bad job.
So well.
Like,
everyone loved it.
And, like, the whole time he was making intense eye contact with Sarah.
And you're like, what is happening? And Sarah is the maid of honor, and she's this bride's sister.
Yes, and she is the other main character.
Yes, the one with the wine.
And the dance montage scene was weird as hell.
So about that, I was like, okay, so he knows everything that's about to happen? This is weird, because the way he was dancing, like, it just... He knew how everyone's gonna dance, and he knew that guy would need to sit down in a chair, because otherwise he was gonna fall. And I was like... Okay, so this matches the weird vibe, and it's like, why does he know everything that's literally about to happen? Because like I said, I knew nothing about this movie. And then, so, now they have, like, met, they're talking, Niles and Sarah, and he convinces her to, like, shenanigans, basically. Yes. And my next thing is really just a quote that she says, and I'm like, I need this on a t-shirt, but it comes a little after.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we have the same one, because I quoted it too, because they've been talking at this table, they're like, and then, like, she kind of brings up, like, aren't you Misty's boyfriend? And he's like, hold on, and takes her to see that Misty is cheating on Niles with Trevor, who's, like, the Australian guy that's also at the wedding. And also, at one point, he's the priest, and he's not the priest in another scene, and I'm like...
And he's dressed like a cowboy?
Yeah, he's, like, dressed like a rhinestone cowboy, and he's...
Wow.
Don't know where he came from or what his role is, but he's out there.
Yeah.
he's there.
He's out there. Yeah, because Niles is trying to get Sarah to, like, go off with him and essentially, like, hook up.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, your girlfriend on that. And she's like, no, she won't. And so, like, they go do this, and then while they're sitting under the bathroom window, like, creeping on them, he's like, so what's your deal or whatever? And Sarah goes... Like, her family doesn't really like her much or whatever because she's, quote, a liability who fucks around and drinks too much.
Yeah, and then he goes, why would they think that?
I fuck around and I drink too much. And I'm like, I need this on a shirt.
Yeah, so we did have the same quote, because I would also love that on a shirt.
Love that.
I do fuck around and drink too much. What are we doing right now? Fucking around and drinking too much.
Literally, that's this podcast. Like, we need it. That's our quote now. We're having it. Thank you, Palm Springs. So, she is convinced. They go off. They start hooking up. And then the first surprise happens, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well,
before this, though.
I have a note about them sleeping together. They're about to hook up on some rocks, which I can't imagine is very comfortable at all.
They're in the desert, and so you also, like, throughout this, like, there's a whole running bit where Andy Samberg's character, Niles, he just always has a drink in his hand. So man is just drunk off his ass the whole movie, which, like, same, but also it's a wedding. And then she is also, we learn, likes to drink a lot. So, one, if you're drunk and you're going to hook up with someone else's boyfriend at a wedding, I don't really think you're going to care where it is. Also, they are in the middle of the desert. They don't have a lot of options.
But on rocks, like, you could find a more comfortable spot.
Well, I think, like, she would probably be on top, so she wouldn't be on a rock. She didn't care. But also, yeah, so while they're trying to get, like, him undressed so that they can have sex, he's wearing, like, underwear under his swimming trunks, which was just a weird little thing.
Which she brought up. She was like, what's that about?
He's like, doesn't everyone do this?
No.
And then what happens?
He gets fucking shot with an arrow in the shoulder.
And I was like, what the fuck?
And then Sarah, understandably, is confused and, like, freaking out. Meanwhile, Niles just fucking takes off. Like, he's, like, used to it. He's like,
I thought I smelled you. And then he just runs.
Yeah.
And you were like, what? You and Sarah are like, what is happening? Came so out of left field. And I was like, is this because he knows things? And yeah, pretty much. That's what we learned soon after this, kind of what the fuck is going on.
Because he's getting hunted by some dude named Roy, and then he gets to this cave, and the cave seems to be some sort of portal to the time loop to restart the day.
Think like the cave in Aladdin, because it has that orange glow that just like opened up out of nowhere. Same thing. He got shot again in the leg, so now he's like army crawling to this cave, yelling at Sarah like, I'm fine! It's don't follow me!
Here.
And she's, worried.
Yeah.
So she's probably gonna go. She's gonna follow him. Because honestly, I would too. I gotta be honest. If I was about to hook up with someone and they got shot and then crawled away,
I would be concerned.
I want to help you.
Yeah.
I don't fault her.
But so apparently that's what we find out. Niles has been in this time loop for a long time, which is foreshadowed in like the first day that we see. Like when he was talking to Jimmy in the pool and he was like, and Jimmy was like, oh, it's the day is young, anything can happen. And he was like, no, it's the same as today. Yeah. It's the same as yesterday. It's going to be the same tomorrow.
So when he first says that, you think, oh, this is just his personality.
Yeah,
but
he's
then
just
you're like,
that's why I say he's like got this nihilistic point of view. Like he's just depressed and like hates his life. And you know what? Like we've been there.
But then you soon learn he is literally stuck in a Groundhog Day, basically. Yes. So he has lived this wedding thousands of times at this point.
And like that's how he knows like his girlfriend is cheating on him with Trevor. That's how he knows everything about the dance. And then, that old lady comes up, Nana is like, I've been to more weddings than you could ever even dream of going to. And he was like, oh, I doubt that.
Yeah.
Kind of like, that was a weird
little
conversation.
one-off, yeah.
But then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really fun in the fact, like, if you like connecting things, this is a good movie for that. Because, like, in the beginning, you're kind of lost, and he makes a lot of quirks, and he's got weird behavior. But then once you're, like, everything, you can connect the dots, and that's fun. I always like that in movies.
Yeah.
Where you get to connect the dots.
Love a good foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of foreshadowing.
Yeah. So obviously she follows him through the time loop.
Yes.
Through the portal, and now she is also stuck in the time loop, and she does this by freaking out reasonably and throwing canned beers at him in a pool. Because, she's a little freaked.
And then she jumped in the pool after him with her suede shoes on, which was insane to me. I was like, I literally wrote...
I didn't even notice that she had suede. I just thought she was wearing heels.
No, she was wearing, like, suede booty heels.
I wasn't paying attention to her.
And I was like, oh, she did not just jump in the pool with her suede heels on.
Well, luckily, nothing matters. Time is meaningless.
But I was like, ugh. Because as someone who owns suede shoes, several pairs of suede, like, ankle boot heels, like, I could never.
That was Skylar's biggest shock of the movie.
Literally, she jumped in the water with her suede shoes on. And if anyone should know anything about suede, it's that it can't get wet.
That is true, yeah.
It will be permanently ruined. There's no way to fix wet suede.
Yeah. Now we just basically get a lot of him trying to explain it to her not really believing it, her trying to get out, get away.
She's trying to go to the cave, like...
She's like, just lost in the desert, and he just, like, this whole time, though, he just, like, there's a whole bit where he's just trying to give her a beer.
Yeah.
Like, from the beginning, and she won't take it, and he's like, and then he, like, tries again, and he's like, I thought that was a funny bit. Because, like, now you know, like, honestly, I'd probably just stay drunk, too. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're just gonna wake up again.
Nothing matters.
So, which is an interesting concept, and So he has, like, his theories, his things. He talks about, like, how he's, like, done so many suicides and, like, just tried all this different stuff. How he's gone different places. He's been killed. They have this whole thing where she, like, runs them into a truck trying to die. And he, like, unbuckles his suit out and just, like, leans forward. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, pacing for, you know, quick death. It sucks to die slowly.
Yeah.
Because pain is still real, apparently.
Yes.
Is what we learned, but they still wake up the morning of the wedding.
Yes.
And then he talks about, like, I don't know if I have anything before this, about, because she asks him, like, who the fuck is this guy hunting you?
Yes.
And then we get to learn his backstory with Roy.
Yes. And I have, like, very little notes on it, but basically, like, he meets Roy at the wedding.
Yes.
So
he's a sometimes guest, apparently, I guess, which was, like...
Yes, so we learned that because the day of the wedding, Roy left his house to come to the wedding.
Yeah, so he wasn't there like everyone else, like stayed overnight, it seems.
So he gets to wake up in his own bed and like be at home, and so he can choose to come basically hunt down.
Fuck Niles up if he wants.
Yes, but they like start talking at the bar, and they like start and like Roy the whole time, and I was like, Roy's a bit nihilistic, isn't he? I was like, I see where Niles gets it from, because Roy was just like, so he's like, weddings are stupid, like love, it doesn't matter, and I was like,
yeah, he was in a moment, and at this point Niles is already stuck in the loop. So that's why, like, they kind of bonded, because Niles already now has that kind of mindset where he's like, it's all bullshit, blah, blah, blah. What also, interesting enough, at this point, we do see that Niles is still wearing his tuxedo at this point in his time loop, so eventually he, like, starts to go on to just, like, fuck
he just doesn't
everything.
care.
Yeah.
But they start having some fun, and then they do
cocaine.
party. they party, they do cocaine.
And like that he just walks right up to the priest, basically, while he's doing his thing, and just, like, takes it out of his pocket. It's like, he does have it, let's go.
And then, so when they're, like, laying there, like, after they've been partying, Roy's like, I kind of wish this day would never end. And Niles is like, I know how to do that.
I got you, bro. Because he's fucked up at this point. So he's like, go in that cave. Your ancestors are in there.
Yeah, that was, like, I was like, sure.
And then Roy's like, what? And then he's like, the things you're looking for. And Roy's like, those are not the same things. Like, he, like, changed what he said. So then Roy starts to go into the cave, and, like, last minute, he finally gets some clarity, and Niles is like, wait, no. And then he, like, passed, because he's on so many drugs, I assume. He couldn't quite stop him. So now Roy is stuck in the time loop with him.
And not very happy about it.
And now, like, hunting and killing Niles over and over again is, like, his kind of revenge, makes him feel better type of thing.
Yeah, so, like, he'll spend a few days in the time loop, like, with his family, and then he's like, I hate this, and then so he'll go after Niles again.
Which, like, I mean,
it's just a way of release for him.
Yeah. Truly. And then we get, like, basically just a big, after he told all this story to Sarah, we get this kind of montage of just them doing random ass shit.
Yeah, just doing the day over and over again.
Which, like, it does seem fun. Like, the way they do it, like, it makes it seem, like, really fun, because they steal a plane and crash to their death. They break into a choreographed dance at a bar and get, like, weird.
I said I love the dive bar dance scene. I am surprised they didn't get shot, though.
Yeah.
Because in a dive bar, if you do that, you most likely...
Get shot for dancing?
Have you ever been to a sketchy dive bar like that?
Yeah, but people just assume they're on drugs.
Well, there have been people who've, like, got shot for less at a dive bar.
There have been people in America who get
yeah,
shot
that's
for
also
way
true.
less just for existing.
But a lot of times, my sentiment is ever I go to a sketchy dive bar is make myself as small as possible and be as much in the background as possible.
Fair. I just try not to go to sketchy dive bars.
But sometimes you need to, for, like, it's a canon event for personal growth. Is to go.
I've been to plenty. I lived in Nashville. I've been to a lot of sketchy places.
And then when he did, like, later on in the movie, when he broke the glass and was, like, fighting with the bartender at the dive bar, I was really surprised he didn't get shot.
Yeah. So yeah, they do, like, this whole montage. Basically, they just do a bunch of, like, crazy shit because it doesn't matter.
It was a lot of fun.
They have fun, and basically they kind of ends with them camping out in the middle of the desert.
Oh, I did have one.
Okay.
Yes. Because I was like, I mean, if you're going to be stuck in a time loop, you may as well have fun with it. Like, yeah, be a French pirate and put a bomb in your sister's wedding cake.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they put a bomb in the sister's wedding cake, and then he breaks it and gets it, puts it on a crossbow, shoots it into the air, blows it up, and then Sarah comes in dressed like a pirate with a
terrible French accent.
And they start fighting, and everyone at the wedding is like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
So, like, it does seem fun, like, when you think of it, like, you could just do whatever.
But then my next note was, although if I was ever stuck in a time loop, I think I would be so scared that the one time I do something out of pocket, it would be the time the time loop didn't happen, and of course everyone will remember that day. Like, it would wake up and be the next day.
Yeah, or you die for real. But I guess you might not care at that point, I guess, if you actually died, because then you'd be out of it. That's kind of what his thinking was.
Yeah, like, I would be less scared of actually dying in a time loop, and more scared
just
of
everyone remember. Like,
everyone remember if I did something out of pocket and like
the bomb and the pirate specifically that one.
I was like, because like if I did that, I'm like, with my luck, that would be the day that we all woke up the next day.
Yeah. Oh, and then also before when he was still like explaining everything to her, she also asked him like, so who all have you like hooked up with? Like, have you hooked up with anyone or had sex with anyone? And so he goes through all this list of people.
He takes up Niles, my bisexual king.
Yeah, like he takes up with like younger women, older women, men. Like he hooked up with a bunch of people, and she's like, "Well, have we ever?" And he's like, "No, we've never hooked up or whatever. It was just that one like time, like we almost did or whatever." Because they never actually did in the beginning of the movie, because he got shot.
He got shot with an arrow in his shoulder.
Just want to throw that out there. And so now they're camping out, and they're kind of having like a more real conversation,
yes.
Like a little deeper.
But they are also using a chocolate bar as a metaphor.
Yeah. She's like trying to get to know him more and all this and be a little more real. And he's not really giving into her that much. And then he lets slip, like, they're also on mushrooms.
Yes.
Like, they are high here as well.
They are tripping.
Because then they see dinosaurs.
Yes.
And they just watch dinosaurs out in the distance on the desert. And then they go back in the tent, they lay down, they go to sleep. And eventually she's just like looking at him and she's like, Niles, let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
So then they sleep together.
Yes. And like the deep conversation that they were having was that Sarah thinks the past is important because if you ignore the past, you're destined to repeat it. Whereas Niles, in his more nihilistic point of view, makes with his pretending not to care. And he's like, no, the past doesn't matter. But I feel like the main reason he thought the past didn't matter was because he has been there so long, he couldn't even remember what he did for work. And I think if you focused on that, it would literally, like, make him lose his mind.
Yeah, that's very fair. Because, like, how do you think anything good at that point?
Yeah. Like, if you're there so long, you can't even remember who you were before the time loop. Like,
I mean, you've been there a long time.
I would probably be like, yeah, the past doesn't matter. Like, there's no reason to try and dwell on it or try and figure it out.
There's that, and there's also just the point, like, he mentions it multiple times that, like, pain is real, especially where he's been, like, hunted so often. Like, you have to also think, like, how much pain has he probably had to endure over and over again, either self-inflicted or by being hunted. It's like, that would take a toll on your sanity.
Yes.
I feel like it's like just torture, basically, over and over.
Yes.
So that is a good point.
And then so they hook up in the tent.
Yes, they finally hook up.
After seeing rock dinosaurs.
Yeah, but it seems like, and like over and over, every time they wake up, they get like a little like smiling more and more.
Yes.
And it's like funny wake ups, especially with his girlfriend, because she's like, at one point, this is back in the montage, she comes and wakes him up, and the girlfriend's like, are you cheating on with you and Sarah? And he's like, no, silly goose, you're cheating on me. And she's like, what? And then he leaves. It's like funny stuff like that. And then so the night after they finally had sex, hook up, they both hook up with really big smiles. And then another big shock happened.
Plot twist. I was like, literally my next note is in all caps.
I said, oh shit! Because I was not expecting that. Like,
wait,
I knew.
It scrolled all the way back up to the top.
I knew.
Literally typed, oh shit, as my first, like.
So, you don't get a lot of glimpses of how Sarah wakes up. Just that she's in a bed. And then once or twice it does pan to a shower running in the bathroom. No context there. Didn't know. I kind of thought it was the one guy who was trying to hook up with her in the beginning. Her ex, it seems like. Because at one point, she, like, tricks him into the bathroom and all that. But, no. What bed does Sarah wake up in every day?
And I also have another thing about the foreshadowings, because they're like, oh, where were you this morning? We went to go wake you up and you weren't in your room. Which you kind of think, like, oh, like, maybe she hadn't fallen asleep. Like, you just, like, you're kind of like, why wasn't she in her room?
There is, like, a little comment like that.
Yes, and it happened, like, twice. Like, oh, we went to wake you up, you weren't in your room. She's like, oh, I went on a hike.
6 a.m. or something.
Yeah. She was like, oh, I went on a hike. Like, and I'm like, sure.
Yeah. I just kind of thought, like, oh, she's just dealing with this reality. Like, she woke up and she was trying to get out of it. Like, that's where I didn't even think of it
until you realize that the person in the shower is Abe, the person her sister is marrying today.
Her sister's fiance. They slept together the night before his wedding.
Yeah, I said, oh shit, Sarah and Abe, her sister's husband on the night before the wedding day? That's crazy.
I was not expecting that at fucking all. But then you go back and you look, and all of her, like, mannerisms at their first day at the wedding, it makes a lot of sense, because when they're sitting there doing the vows, it pans to her a little bit, and you can just see she's, like, just staring at the ground, wide-eyed. She looks like crap. Like, she's not having a good time. And now it all makes sense. So, like, that happy feeling she had with Niles or whatever, you see it instantly go from her face. And this is now where she kind of clicks. She's like, I can't keep waking up here.
Yes.
Because every time it just makes her feel like shit.
Like, after she slept with Niles, who she actually likes, like, waking up and then being rushed out of Abe's room because Abe was like, you gotta go. It just, like, made her feel, like, sadness, guilt, anger, like, and she was like, she
essentially makes her hate herself.
Yeah, and so she started acting out.
Every day.
She was
So she goes real hardball today, which is, like, a big juxtaposition because now Niles is, like, happy. So he's no longer the downer or whatever. He's, like, happy. He, like, wants to talk with her about it. He's, like, glad she's there, and she's just going off the wall.
Yeah, she is, like, taken off. Like, Niles hasn't seen her in, like...
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, no.
This is the cop.
Yes,
scene.
Yes.
This is the next day.
I thought there was something before the cop scene. I thought, but no, that does come later.
Yeah, they're in the car. They're, like, she just wants to drive, and she's, like, you can tell she's free. She's basically having a breakdown.
Yeah.
And he just keeps trying to talk about, like, the night before, their hookup, all that, and she's just like, this cop has been following us for miles. And he's like, okay, like, that's fine. And so then she, like, starts littering, and he's like, are you littering now? And she's, like, trying to get the cop to notice her. She's like, nothing. And he's like, okay, and then she, like, starts speeding. And then finally the cop turns on the lights, and now at this point he's like, fuck, it might be Roy. And her whole thing is she's been wanting him to confront Roy.
Yes.
And she's like, well, this is it. And then she just, like, gets out of the car, loses her mind, starts screaming that Niles wants to kill her to the cop or whatever. And he's just like, fuck, what is going on? So the cop comes, gets out, makes him get out of the car, and it is Roy. But while he's doing that, she is getting in the cop car. And what does she do?
She fucking hits Roy with the car.
Pins him between the two cars. And she's like, I just tapped him. And he's like, yeah, you did not just tap him. And then another cop comes and has a taser. And she's, like, getting all in his face.
Yeah, she's like, what are you going to do, tase me?
And then she ducks to, like, tackle him. And then Niles ends up getting tased. Like, it's just this whole thing. And then it cuts to they're both sitting handcuffed on the side of the road.
Yes. And they start arguing.
Yeah, because he's like, what the fuck is up with you? And whatever. And so they have just more argument, and she's just like, I can't keep doing this, blah, blah, blah. And it's at this point now, he's like, I lied to you. Because before that, he let it slip. I'm not exactly sure how he let it slip. But they have apparently hooked up many, many times.
A lot.
And he didn't want to tell her that.
And then so after that, Sarah runs in front of the semi-truck.
And gets... her day restarted.
Yes.
And now he does not see her.
Yes.
For a long time. And he's, like, kind of going a little crazy trying to find her. He's really sad. He's lonely. He misses her. He kind of, like, admits to himself that he's in love with her. But all this, he just, like, cannot find her. Because he doesn't know, like, where she wakes up. Like, he's trying to find that out. And eventually, he does figure it out.
Yes, because they were partying in Abe's room. and he leaned over onto the other pillow, and he recognized her hair fragrance because they had talked about it.
Yes, another foreshadowing thing.
He recognizes the hair mist as Sarah's, so he confronts Abe at the wedding, and then they start getting in a fight.
And then they, like, have a physical brawl, and then Niles stabs Abe in the face with a fork.
Yeah, that was insanity.
So all of that happened.
And then he goes, "Did you just stab me in the face with a fork?" I'm like, yes, I think that is exactly what happened.
Yes. Yeah, basically, all of that is happening. Basically, he is depressed all over again.
Yes.
And he goes and sees Roy.
Mm-hmm. And he wants Roy to do Roy things. He wants to get tortured. He wants, to basically feel this, because he's got all this pain inside, so now he wants to feel it outside.
Yeah. And it's also when you get to see, Roy has a life.
Yeah.
He has a wife and 2 kids that he, loves now. Because, in the beginning, he was kind of nihilistic again, but now he's kind of, had a change of heart type of thing. He just wants to enjoy the day that he has.
Yeah, after Sarah hit him with the car.
Yeah, because then he got to experience that pain that he's been inflicting on Niles this whole time because they wouldn't let him fall asleep at the hospital because they were worried he'd go into a coma. So he just had to lay there and die slowly. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing Niles always says, nothing like dying slowly in the ICU. Mm-hmm. And so that now that Roy has experienced that, he's like, no, we're good. I'm done with you. And so they have a little heart-to-heart thing, and he's finally just like, okay, you gotta go. You're freaking my family out. Yeah. You're too sad to be here, basically.
He's like, you're depressed, but it's kind of freaking out.
Bumming out my kid watering his dog poop. Because that was the whole thing.
And then Niles was like, will you kill me one last time?
Just want to beat Rush Hour.
So he just stands in a trash can and lets Roy shoot him with an arrow.
Yep. So restarts his day again. And then we get to kind of see what Sarah's been doing this whole time.
Yes.
So it cuts to her. And what has she been up to?
So she's been studying quantum physics.
Girl is done being here.
Yeah, so she's been, finding out all the secrets of the time loop and trying to figure out how to get out of it. She's, doing online classes, reading books. At one point, she's talking to this professor, over Zoom on her laptop, and he said something, and she had, countered it, and he was like, okay, well, you clearly don't need my help.
You know everything. You know more than me. But also, can we talk about how she's watching these videos and doing this Zoom call without headphones in the middle of a diner, just on full blast on her laptop? I was like, girl, you can't do that.
Well, no one's going to care. They're not going to remember it the next day.
So that was the most wild thing to me. I was like, she is not doing this.
Okay, so that was your wild thing. My wild thing was jumping into the pool with Suede shoes on.
I guess we both had our thing. So she learns, the secret, which is apparently, blowing herself up with C4.
I was like, did she seriously solve the time loop by blowing up the goat?
She did.
And
So now we know what happened to the goat because it's no longer in the time loop.
Yeah. Yep. Because I was like, wait, the goat is gone, which means the goat is dead because the bomb was literally strapped to the goat.
Or it just got out of the loop. The goat was set free is what I like to think.
I want to know what happened. Did we learn what happened? I don't remember.
No, not to the goat, but that's her whole thing about it being a theory is now the goat's no longer there. So she's like, well, it's either dead or it's free. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'm fine with either option. Yeah. And so she tries to get Niles to go with her. Tells him, hey, this is what's up. And then, so she's like, come with me, let's go blow ourselves up with C4 in the cave, because that's where you have to do it. And then he's like, counterpoint, stay with me. Yeah. Because I love you, and I want to be here with you. Mm-hmm. And she's like, goodbye. Yeah. So she kind of has her one last wedding day.
Yeah, because, her thing is she wants him to come with her, but he wants to stay because he's worried that if they get out, they're not going to see each other ever again.
Yeah. And now he's, finally, admitted, she's the person he wants type of thing. Yeah. And her thing is, only because I'm stuck here. You wouldn't know that out in the real world. Yeah. Type of thing. So they kind of butt heads there.
Yes. so Sarah is doing like everything she can to make this last day go perfectly, so that way when she gets out, like it's a good day for everyone to remember.
Yeah, she like becomes the perfect maid of honor.
Yeah, delivers an excellent speech.
Yeah, really nice too. Her sister threatens.
Yeah, looks at Abe and says, "Don't fuck this up."
Yeah, serious. Does like just has a really nice day, and then we get maybe time guru Nana because I was like, what the fuck was that?
I literally went, what does Nana know?
Because Nana like walks up to her and like congratulates her on her speech, and she's like, so now I guess you're done, you'll be going now, and then walks away, and Sarah's like, what the fuck? And I was like, what the fuck? Does Nana know?
I was like, what does Nana know?
I was like, Nana's a time guru. No wonder she's been to so many weddings. She's stuck here too. That's my new theory.
Nana, well, my theory is Nana's a time wizard.
Time lord. Oh, Doctor Who.
She is the one who actually created this time loop to teach Niles and Sarah lessons.
Yeah. This is all a lesson.
Yeah. So this whole time Niles been at the dive bar.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so he is like doing everything he, and then he's like, oh shit. Like after he talks to Darla?
Mm-hmm. Darla.
Yes. He's like, oh fuck. So he's like doing everything he can to get back there as quickly as possible. He like steals a car, like distracts the bartender and like steals his car, and then gets to the guy that they were practicing like target practice with, and he was like, what are you doing here? Like, who are you? And he's like, I'm your son. And they like hug, and then he's like, I need a way to get back to, and he's like, take this. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And so he gets there and he gives her another speech about how much he loves her, and because she's like trying to get him to stop. She's like,
you get one sentence.
Yeah, because she's like, I don't need to hear another one of your like waxing poetic, like prestigious think piece speeches. Like she's over it.
Yeah. She wants to go blow herself up because she's got all the C4 strapped to her.
But he says he's ready to get out of the time loop with her because even if they blow themselves up, at least they're together. Yeah. And it was kind of funny because he was like, comma, colon.
Yeah, because she only gave him one sentence, so he kept ... Oopsies.
It's called an ellipses.
Yeah, so then...
And then she's like making your mom jokes, and I was like, classic.
Yeah, it's, a little out there, but the whole movie's a little out there. So then they kiss and blow up. And then, essentially they're back in the pool that he liked to frequent. Mm-hmm. In their little floats with their beers.
Yeah. I was like, babe, what if we kissed in front of the time loop portal before setting off an explosion and blowing ourselves up?
What if?
I love how at the end they were all in that pool. They were in that pool of the family because they were like, oh, they're not coming back today.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't know when they're coming back.
Well, I think it was like, oh, well, apparently they're coming back November 10th. And then they were still floating in the pool while the family was standing there. I was like, who are you? What are you doing here? And they just stayed in the pool.
Yeah, so they got out of the loop, and now all of a sudden he's like bringing up his dog. And she's like, you have a dog? You never told me about it? Because he's like, I guess I need to go pick up my dog. And it was like, it never came up. And so the credits play or whatever, and then you get a little cut after scene, and you're like, oh fuck, they left Roy in the time loop. Because Roy shows up back at the wedding, and he goes up to Niles, and he's like, hey, your girl left this voicemail or whatever, like, is it true? Like, is this real? And Niles does not know who Roy is.
Yeah.
Because Niles is no longer in the time loop, it's just Roy's time loop of the wedding. Mm-hmm. And so now Roy's like, oh shit, it worked, like they're out, type of thing. And you're like, man, it kind of sucks that they just left Roy because he has an actual family. And he was kind of tricked into the time loop, but at least she left him a message. And
yeah, and so he has a way to get out.
Hopefully he can go get some C4 and get out. And that was Palm Springs.
It was a fun little lighthearted movie. It was enjoyable. Like,
it was fun. It was not, like, I had no idea what to expect, and there were definitely some twists that got me. I was like, oh shit. And according to IMDb, just because I meant to do this earlier, but apparently Andy Samberg admitted that multiple endings were written and even shot for the film.
Oh, that's cool.
And they held private friends and family screenings of the different versions to get opinions on which ending worked. And like Samberg jokes about the ending they picked. He's like, all right, it might not be perfect, but everyone apparently liked this ending. So that's the ending that got picked.
I wonder what the other ones would have been.
Yeah, I I'm very curious.
I'm like, hey, Andy Samberg, release those like on YouTube or something.
Yeah, because like the way he jokes about it, like it might not be perfect. Like, I'm wondering if it's not his favorite ending. So I'm like, I'm curious to see like what was the original ending if it wasn't this one. Because I always think that's interesting. Palm Springs broke the record for most viewed Hulu release in its first weekend of the streaming service.
Oh, nice.
Because this is a Hulu original. I can't remember if you said that or not. Oh, and I did like this scene. We didn't talk about it, but there's a scene when Niles and Roy are first meeting, and Niles tells Roy, I like your hat, and Roy says, of course you do. Apparently that was improv between Andy and J.K. Simmons. And I was like, I love that line, so I'm really glad that was improv.
That was really funny. He was like, I like your hat, and he was like, of course you do.
Let's go do cocaine. But yeah, that was Palm Springs.
Oh, I forgot when Niles was telling all the people that, Sarah, all the people he hooked up with, he was like, yeah, I also hooked up with your dad, and then like cut to a scene of them getting, and then he goes, I'm just kidding, it didn't happen.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I guess Sarah was, in the right to make the your mom jokes about Niles' mom if he was going to joke about
her dad. Yeah. Full circle. Oh gosh.
I'm good.
You got this.
It's got a kick. It's okay though. I'm trooping. I'm a trooper. I'm like, normally I would have finished it by now, but we've been talking a lot, and always on movie episodes it's harder to drink because both of us are talking. It's not like I can just drink through your segment.
Yeah, that's true. It's more of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
shall we spin for next week?
Let's.
Alright, so what topic do we have next week?
We got the topic random.
Woo!
Yeah, which, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's random. We can do whatever we want.
It's our decision, which we love.
Well, like how I had that one random ready to go. Well, I didn't have it ready to go. It basically took me, I realized it was going to be a lot more, so I had to pick a new random one that I could actually do and get done in time. So now I'm like, I can do that first one I was going to do.
Yeah, there you go. What are we drinking?
Another drink we don't like.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yay.
So fun.
Why do we even have it on the wheel?
Because we can't just always,
Says who? It's our show.
That's true. Because it makes it more fun.
Does it? Does it truly?
Brings a little something to it.
Fair enough.
You can't have a reward without risk.
I think this whole podcast is a risk.
It's a health hazard.
I guess now we really get to test you.
The fire marshals hate us.
Yeah.
That joke was funny to me, but probably not to anybody else. Like, then that's okay.
It was just a little delayed. But I like the spirit.
Thank you.
I also like your shirt.
Yes. I wonder who I got it from.
Someone with really good days.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Lovejoy shirt that Brittany got me.
Yay.
I've been meaning to turn it into a crop top because it is just a little small, but that's okay.
It still looks good.
Thank you. Yeah. It's just because my boobs are too big for it. So like right across here, you can see how like stretched out it is.
Peeling them?
No, it's not peeling.
Oh, okay, good.
You see the these little folds here are because it's pulled too tight across. But yeah. Oh dear.
Here we go.
Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be good. Well, thank you so much for listening, and if you would like to find us as a collective, you can find us at Sip and Spin Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube. We post videos not every Tuesday, but we try. And then if you would like to find Brittany, you can find her at Whimsy Dream or Whimsy Dreams, depending on what was available. And if you would like to find me, I'm at Gleam YKS. But as everything, all the links will be down in the description below through our link trees.
But as everything.
As
always?
Is that what I said?
You said as everything.
As always, everything. I just left out a word. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah, we thank you for listening. Like said, sorry It took a while.
Yes, but we're back.
Hopefully we are back on a regular schedule.
We're not going to promise anything. I'm just going to let y'all know that now.
We never, ever
We're never
promise.
Here.
Because life happens, you know? It is what it is.
We're having a good time. Hopefully y'all had a good time.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully
you missed us enough to come back.
Yeah, hopefully you missed us enough to come back, and hopefully you'll stick around.
Yes, for some random, which is always fun because we never know what we're going to do, and you'll never know what we're going to do, so.
I get so excited.
Why did you whisper that like a weirdo?
Because it means I get to talk about, like, the weird topics that I don't get to talk, like, you know, I get to talk about physics, or, like, theoretical physics, or, like, ethics, or, like, you know, the little, like, things that we don't really have a place to talk about it for. I'm like, I can do it now.
No, it is fun. Like I said, I like random. It's fun.
Probably it will end up being like it was last time, where Brittany picked mermaids and I picked the multiverse. So, like, who knows?
Yeah, like I said, you never know what you're gonna get.
But yes, thank you so much for listening, and we'll hope you hear us again.
Okay, I've gotta go, Sam. Sit with you next time.
Bye.